Hello, everyone, and welcome to Creating Effective Goals in 2017. Happy New Year to all of you from the Avanti Women team. My name is Mandy Kaur, and I'm the Marketing and Events Manager. So for those of you who may not be familiar with Avanti Women, we are an organization that's dedicated to empowering women to move forward professionally and personally through networking, mentoring, and learning. We do this in a variety of ways by hosting events in your regions, bringing you webinars such as this, and partnering with universities and colleges to host career and networking days. Our next large networking event is on April 1st, and it will be at Centennial College, their Morningside location. And there will be over 200 women, 25 career workshops, and lots of networking, free giveaways from our partners such as Kate Spade and Microsoft. I will be giving an exclusive offer to everyone at the end of this webinar, so stay tuned. And with that in mind, let's get started. I would like to introduce Michelle Hamelin. She is an entrepreneur, HR strategist, coach, business consultant, and an international speaker. She successfully runs 2 companies. She has her coaching and consulting company and her residential cleaning company. And a large part of her success is her strong goal-setting habits and keeping her eye on where she wants to be. Michelle also has a golden retriever named Brody. She's the mother of twins, one of them who plays soccer and the other is a cheerleader. And needless to say, she's one busy lady and is really excited to share with all of you how effectively she's been setting her professional, personal, and business goals. If you do have any questions during the session, you can just enter them in the questions area, and Michelle will do her best to answer them throughout the session. So over to you, Michelle.
Excellent. Thanks, Mandy. So thank you, everybody, for joining me today. I think that high achievers who are on this webinar are raring to go. I think you're setting yourself up for the best possible 2017, and you're in the right place to kick it off. I want to help you to take your dreams and distill them into goals. That way you can really knock it out of the park this year. It's going to be a year you'll never forget. Now, I have a lot of material crammed into this webinar, so basically hold on to your seats because I may go a little fast. Mandy is going to be monitoring the chat box to see if there's any questions that I can answer on the fly, and I hope I can address them all. But I've been told I have about 40 minutes plus question time, so questions some of them may wait till the end. So get your pen and your notepad ready, and let's get started. So welcome to everyone who's taken the time to join in and make themselves a priority this year. On a high level, there are 7 steps that we're going to cover in today's webinar. So the first one is clarify your priorities, then write SMART goals, aim for discomfort, build in motivation, narrow your focus, determine next steps, track your progress. Now, don't kill yourself trying to write them all down now. I know they're on the screen, but you don't have to write them all down because we're going to go through each one of them in some detail. Also, in addition to the 7 steps that I just read out to you, here's some other things I'm going to share. You're going to learn a single strategy that will instantly make you 42% more likely to accomplish your goals. We'll talk about the beliefs that you may have that are holding you back from getting bigger results. We're going to go over the dimensions to consider in setting your goals and how to set SMART goals and keep yourself motivated when you feel stuck. So let me ask you a question. Have you ever felt stuck? You know, like you're spinning your wheels and you can't get any traction no matter how hard you try. Maybe it was a weight loss goal. You want to eat well, exercise regularly, maintain a healthy weight. But somehow, life seems to sabotage your efforts. You have a busy workload and it makes you miss your gym time, or maybe there was cake in the conference room, the things that happen to us every day. Maybe you have a relationship goal. You really want to improve the level of intimacy that you're having with your spouse or your significant other, or you want to improve your relationship that you have with your kids. Maybe you want to recapture something that you used to have or something new you want to develop. But you keep getting derailed by other priorities. And then you worry about, the people that matter most to you are getting the short end of the stick. And they probably are. And you're not exactly sure how to fix it. Or maybe you have a business goal. You have a dream of getting that promotion or finally starting a business, or you want to bring your existing business to a higher level of success. Or maybe you have a financial goal you want to achieve. You're not sure how you're going to make the headway necessary to be successful. We've all had the disappointment of setting a goal and failing to achieve it. And we've all experienced the fear of trying again after so many failures. But if you're cynical about setting a new round of goals for 2017, you're not alone. Now here's something I want to point out to you. If you set another round of goals, you may not achieve them. It's true. But you're guaranteed to fail if you don't try. So remember the quote from Wayne Gretzky, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. So let that sink in. You'll only achieve what you intentionally pursue. Certainly, there are many factors you cannot control, and that's why it's even more important to take responsibility for the elements you can control. And that's where goals come in. They are the key to identifying those factors you can control and making an intentional plan to making the most of them. So that's why I'm going to go through the 7 major steps to conquer your goals. And here's our first step. Clarify your priorities. There are 3 questions to consider. At the end of my life, what will I want to have achieved? It's kind of like, the things that people say at the end of their lives. They didn't regret working, or they regretted working too much and not actually enjoying their lives. What will you regret not doing? And what will matter the most to me? Like for me, I'm guessing health, important relationships, and making a difference and having an impact are kind of the things that we would all see to be important. Now, when you're setting goals, one of the major mistakes people make is like having tunnel vision. They only set goals in one area of their lives. How many times have you made a list of 10 goals, say, and it was filled with only career or business goals? And you didn't take into account things like health or important relationships. Yet your relationships at home impact the energy you bring to work or business. Your physical health impacts everything. Not only does it impact you on work, it impacts your capacity to take on something more, say, aspirational, like writing a book. So in order to be effective, our goals need to address the various aspects of your life. So here's some components to think about, and you might want to write these ones down. So important relationships. These are your love relationships. Whether you are single and loving it, in a relationship, or you desire to have one. It includes your family life too, whether it's your spouse, children, parents, or siblings. And then there's friendships. How strong is your support network? For example, do you have at least 5 people who you know have your back and who you love having around? Adventures. This is probably my favorite one. How much time do you get to do the things you love? Whether it's travel, experiencing the world, or doing any of the things that open you up to new experiences and any kind of excitement. And then there's environment. This is the quality of your home, your car, your work. In general, the space is where you spend your time. So the first four. The fifth one is health and fitness. Now, this is January, so everybody's got health and fitness, top of mind. I mean, Good Life is making sure we've got it there, but as you reflect on it, is your health and fitness where you want it to be? And then intellectual life. Are you learning and growing? How many books do you read a week or a year? I mean, my coach reads 2 books a week, so that means she reads at least 100 books a year. I'm not that good, but to say I read 20 a year is pretty cool. How many seminars do you attend? Education shouldn't stop after you graduate. And then there's skills. Are you improving the skills you have for your career? Do you have any skills that make you unique? Do you have any skills you want to acquire? And as you consider your skills, are you growing towards mastery, which I understand it's a myth, but they say 10,000 hours of practice makes you a master? Or are you stagnating? So that's skills. And then the 8th one is spiritual life. So while for many a spiritual life includes a relationship with God, it doesn't necessarily have to be that for you. It could also include meditation or yoga practices that keep you balanced and peaceful. It could also mean, under theme of balanced and peaceful, not watching the news after 6 o'clock. And now we're down to the last 4 dimensions. So finances. Are your finances where you want them to be? Or are you living month to month? How much have you saved for a rainy day? Are you saving for retirement? Career or business? Are you growing, climbing the ladder, and excelling? Or do you feel like you're stuck in a rut? Is your business thriving, or is it stagnating? For your creative life, do you paint or write or play a musical instrument? Or do you take photographs? I mean, I knit and sometimes I quilt. But do you have any channel that helps you explore your creativity? And then lastly, community contributions. Are you giving, contributing, or playing any role in your community? I mean, in addition to working with Avanti women like I'm doing tonight, I also work with a dog rescue here in Ottawa, which is how we found Brody, who Mandy mentioned earlier. He's our new golden retriever. He's been with us for 3 months now. Anyway, these are my 12 dimensions. You might have different ideas or wording that's important to you and the elements that define who you are and who you want to be. And if you do, that's fantastic. Go ahead and use those. I'm giving you mine to help you jumpstart the thinking process. Now, you don't have to have goals on each of these dimensions, but you need to be aware of how the aspects will be impacted by your goals in a different area. So if you do, oh, and I should warn you, if you decide to create goals across all 12 areas, don't be surprised if you find that things start to shift. Because when you have lofty goals, you're tapping into the power of your subconscious, and the opportunities that were right there under your nose but you didn't see before will now be noticed. So this brings us to an action item. I want you to list 7 to 10 of your top priorities. We'll pause for a minute or two while you jot down a couple to get yourself started. I'll also flip through the 12 dimensions in case you didn't have a chance to write them all down, and maybe that'll trigger some ideas for you. Like I said, you don't have to cover all the components, but you do have to make sure that you have something that addresses your business or career, or something that addresses your important relationships, or your health and fitness, because without that, you don't have anything. Somebody asked if I'll share my slides with you after the webinar, and I will definitely provide a copy of them to Mandy so she can send them out. Okay, so now I'm going to give you an example of how you can write your goals. And that's step 2, writing SMART goals. Now there's several key qualities that make goals SMART. They must be specific, measurable, actionable, realistic, and time-bound. So specific, the more specific you are, the easier your goal is to start, work towards, and achieve. Have you ever struggled to get started because your goal is too fuzzy? This is where you need to get clear. What are the outcomes you're looking for? What results do you want? Measurable. A measure lets you know how you've achieved your goal and also enables you to track your progress. How would you prove that your goal is complete? This points to your measure. It could be a financial amount, a count, a percentage, or some other measure. Actionable. When your goals are actionable, they're within your control. This means that you are able to make it happen. For example, winning the lottery is not a SMART goal. Be sure that you can start and complete this goal yourself. Realistic. It's important to feel good about your goals. They need to be challenging enough to inspire you, and yet you still need to believe that you can achieve it. And also, what's reasonable with the other commitments you have, given your lifestyle? Adjust this goal so it's inspiring and achievable. And lastly, time-bound. So goals motivate us, but giving us a date to aim at and plan towards really gets us going. Notice how when you were in school, you'd get an assignment done the night before because, that's just kind of, you worked under pressure. And we all told ourselves that you work well under pressure. Well, it's because we are goal-achieving people who focus on the timeline. So is there a specific date that you're aiming towards? If not, what might be realistic? Consider your lifestyle, other responsibilities, and life events that could get in the way. Now, here's an example of a SMART goal that I worked with one of my clients. She wanted to get more sales. She's a health coach, just so you know. And she's writing she wrote a book on the benefits of coconut oil. And so she wanted to get more sales. And so then we dove a little deeper and got into, where do you want to get more sales? So specifically, she wanted to double the sales of her ebook on coconut oil. To measure that, we came down to increase the revenue of her ebook from 10,000 to somewhere between 17,500 and 20,000. Is it actionable and within your control? Well, maybe not actually making people buy her book was in her control, but there were a few steps that she could take. So for example, one was creating a new and more exciting front cover, so it catches the eye when you're scrolling through stuff on Amazon and stuff. The second one was creating a marketing action plan. So for example, we asked 2 friends and so on and so on. She'd asked 25 friends to read and review it on Amazon. And then 3, increase the price from $9.95 to $12.95. So those are all actionable things that she could do. Realistic, increasing the revenue she decided that increasing the revenue from 10,000 to 17,500 was realistic. It's still a stretch and a little scary because she's comfortable with the 10,000. So stretching to 17,500 was, I guess, scary and challenging, but still realistic. And then time bound, she decided she would complete this goal by November 30th, 2017. So the final goal, the SMART version, from Get More Sales turned into increase the revenue of my health ebook from $10,000 to $17,500 by November 30th, 2017. Now, to make them strong as well as smart, there's one more thing I want to share. Goals must be written down. Research shows that written goals are more likely to be achieved. 42% of people are more likely to achieve their goals just by writing them down. Writing them down forces you to get clear on your goals. A piece of paper is concrete. It's more permanent than a thought. Putting your goals in writing will help them become a reality. And when I say that, I mean actual paper and pen, not typing it on your computer. There's something in the tactile writing with a pen on paper and how that connects to your brain that, I guess, ignites your subconscious. So your action item, and we're not really going to take much time for this because you're probably still working on what your goals should be or what your priorities are. But from those priorities, write down 7 to 10 SMART goals. Now, how challenging should you make your goals? I suggest that you aim for discomfort. The fact is that most people stay in the comfort zone. And you know what? Nothing great ever happens in the comfort zone. Grand adventures, breakthrough results, the place where greatness happens, They live outside of the comfort zone. You don't go to bed dreaming about more email. You dream about writing that book or traveling around the world or whatever it is that you're dreaming about. So remember, you never change your life until you step out of your comfort zone. Change begins at the end of the comfort zone. Now be aware of having goals that enter into the delusional zone. We're not all going to be Olympians. So the key to success is to aim higher than the bullseye, because that takes into account the resistance that will invariably occur. Now we should talk about resistance. There's 3 negative emotions that will cause resistance. The first one is fear, and that could be fear of public humiliation, fear of failure, whatever fears you have. Another emotion that will cause resistance is uncertainty. I'm not sure that I can see the path. So instead of taking the path less traveled, you stick on the 401. Doubt is the third negative emotion, and that could appear in the form of, I don't think I have the right experience or the right resources or what it takes to pursue this goal. When you feel these negative emotions, it's actually a positive sign that you're on the right path. You just need to reframe them, because really they're signposts that show you that you're on the right path. You're where you need to be. If you don't feel these emotions, your goals are too small. So here's your action item. Make sure each of your goals are in the discomfort zone. Okay, so step 4. Build in some motivation. Not very many people do this, and I think this step is pretty vital. So how do you stay motivated? We worry about motivation sticking around. It's easy to have passion and enthusiasm when you set a goal. I'm totally guilty of it. I'm a great planner. I love to start things, and I'm horrible at finishing things. But if you have motivation to complete it, things change. So think about the gym. You go in January, and you can't get a machine, or you're waiting for someone to finish. The gym's crowded and you can hardly move. And then you show up in March and you're almost there all by yourself, and you can take a picture of the equipment like it's in a store. The reason this happens is because people didn't set a compelling goal, a goal that moves them. No one perseveres or keeps moving forward unless they care about the goal. So you have to set goals that matter to you. It's not enough to pursue something because it's important to somebody else. So thinking about parenting, getting fit, reaching a professional goal, if you're not connected to what's at stake, you will not keep your conviction up to stick it through the messy middle. So ask yourself, why does it matter? When you pursue a meaningful goal, it's exhilarating. When you accomplish a meaningful goal, it's also exhilarating. But you will short circuit if the goal is not meaningful to you. Now there's 4 attributes to compelling goals. So spiritually meaningful, not necessarily meaning being a person of faith and accomplishing God's will. I mean, it's really more like being connected to a bigger why. So like some people run marathons to do fundraising for a cause. Or I think there was this guy in Toronto who skated for 21 hours for some cause. I heard that in the news, but kind of went in one ear and out the other because it was not in my city. Anyhow, intellectually stimulating. So like a puzzle you need to figure out. Sometimes people feel that sense of achievement when they finally solve the puzzle. Emotionally energizing. So it brings you great joy. Or goals can be compelling if it's physically challenging. So there's that rush that happens when you push yourself further than you thought you could, like climbing a mountain or something like that. Or completing your first 5K run or first 10K run or first marathon. These are all challenging things that are exhilarating. So your action item. I say list 3 reasons why each goal matters to you, but you're still going to be ahead of the game if you list 1 reason why each goal matters to you. It'll give you the motivation to get through the messy middle. Now, how can you avoid overwhelm? If you're like the way I used to be and you set lofty goals, many, many lofty goals, and then the goals are too big and you procrastinate and you get overwhelmed, we try to accomplish too many things at once and we don't accomplish anything at all. That's why this step's so important. Narrow your focus. It can be tough to do this. As you start working on improving your life, it's exciting as we uncover things. And that's why it's tempting to set a ton of goals. But science says we can only focus on 7 to 10 things at a time. I mean, there's a reason why our phone numbers are as long as they are, right? We can only remember so many things. So let's say we set a goal to get healthy, and then we come up with a ton of sub-goals like lose weight, drink more water, get more sleep, work out 4 times a week, eat better, sit less, because, sitting is the new smoking, avoid fast foods, get a personal trainer. Well, you know what? That's a really big list. Just reading it makes me overwhelmed. And then by the time you have 10 goals with these complicated lists, no wonder you lose focus and you accomplish very little. You want to get clear on your most important priorities. Set a goal for each of them and then pursue them with laser focus. You want to focus on a handful of goals that you can repeat from memory. Set 7 to 10 goals for the year, but being even more focused can lead to greater success. Choose a maximum of 2 to 3 goals to focus on per quarter. Focused effort in one direction is more powerful than effort in many directions. You'll make massive headway quickly instead of incremental progress slowly. So your next action item, choose 2 to 3 goals of your 7 to 10 to focus on first. Once those are accomplished, you move on to the next. So now that you have a focused list of goals, or at least you will after you've sat down and reviewed your notes, your next question is probably, how do I get started? Well, the biggest problem most of us have in getting started and achieving our goals that we have for our lives is procrastination. And if the project's big or it's something you've never done before, it's way too easy to press the pause button and never start. High achievers know that procrastination is the real enemy. It's keeping them from what they want. And they've learned that excessive planning is often a fancy way to procrastinate. Did you hear that? Excessive planning is a fancy way to procrastinate. So that's why high achievers break big projects down into bite-sized pieces. It's important to set goals, but eventually you have to get started if you want to have any hope in achieving the goal. You need to chunk it down into manageable pieces so that you can accomplish something in less than a day, or at the most, a few days. If your goal is in the discomfort zone, the chunk/next step has to be in the comfort zone. It has to be something that isn't difficult to do, like send an email or make a phone call or set up a meeting. High achievers focus on the next step. They don't get distracted by trying to figure out the whole path. High achievers know that the path will become clear only when things are in motion. So, for example, I have a goal of weighing 135 pounds in 18 months. That seems really big to me. So I turned it into lose 1 pound over the next 2 weeks. And instead of all the stuff like exercising and drinking more water and so on that I mentioned before, I did one thing. I cut my sugar intake down to 50 grams a day. I didn't focus on anything else but watching my sugar intake. After I lost 5 pounds, I went to the next chunk, which is adding a little bit of exercise each day. For me, that was getting my heart rate up for 5 minutes. That's not much in the grand scheme of things, but it was achievable. I didn't create an elaborate, excessive plan. I just did what I could as it came up. So your action item, identify one action step for each goal. Okay, well, that's all well and good, but how can you maintain momentum? Well, you'll need to monitor your progress. How many times have you written your goals and never looked at them again? They got shoved in a folder. They're still in that notebook that you never opened again. I know I've done it. To be successful, you need to review your goals and track your progress on a regular basis, whether it's daily, weekly, or monthly. Otherwise, it's out of sight, out of mind. And that's why you need a clear plan to make your goals visible. You can read your goals out loud every day. You can print out your goals and put them in a frame by your computer. I went to IKEA and I got a clear frame and that fit an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper and shoved it in there. So it looks pretty and it's beside my computer, so I have to look at it every day. So determine how you're going to track your goals. Now let's go over what we've discussed so far. We've discussed the 7 steps. So clarify your priorities, write SMART goals, aim for discomfort, build in some motivation, narrow your focus, determine next steps, and monitor your progress. In addition, I promised I would provide you with the one single strategy that would instantly make you 42% more likely to accomplish your goals, and it's write them down by hand with a pen on paper. The beliefs you may have that are holding you back from getting bigger results are fear, like fear of public humiliation or fear of failure, uncertainty, because you're not sure you can see the path, or doubt. You don't feel like you have the right experience, resources, or what it takes to pursue the goal. Just remember, there are some pretty dumb people out there who are millionaires, and you're smarter than them, so you can be better than that. The dimensions to consider in setting your goals, remember these are mine, you may want to substitute your own, were important relationships, friendships, adventures, environment, health and fitness, intellectual life, skills, spiritual life, finances, career or business, creative life, and community contributions. Now, how do you set SMART goals and keep yourself motivated when you feel stuck? Well, your goals should be SMART, so specific, measurable, actionable, realistic, and time-bound. And what's going to keep you motivated? knowing why the goal is important to you. The truth is, no matter what's going on around you, 2017 is a blank canvas. The most important things are yours to improve. Remember that the most important things are in your control. It's easy to get discouraged, but when you focus on what you can influence, it will be a spectacular year. I want you to spend a moment now and reflect on what a win would feel like at the end of 2017 when you've accomplished your 7 to 10 goals. Imagine getting to the end of the year knowing you have accomplished what matters most. What will it feel like when you've lost 20 pounds or 70 pounds? How will you feel if you're in the best shape of your life? Imagine pulling on the jeans you have on now and you're swimming in them. Or imagine getting to the end of 2017 having read 24 books and how what you learned from reading those books impacted your professional life and the quality of the conversations you're having, all the new ideas you have. And what would it really be like to take your important relationship to the next level? Imagine a relationship where you couldn't wait to spend time with your spouse. Imagine knowing and being known. Understanding and being understood with someone who shared your most important priorities. Imagine being with someone who offered you the support and encouragement that others only dream of. Or what would it be like to have money left over at the end of the month? Think of what it would be like to be debt-free, owing nothing to anyone. What would it be like to have the money to meet your expenses, protect yourself from the unexpected, and invest for the future? Think of how satisfying it would be to give your family the things they want and deserve. So let's go back to the beginning, when you decided to sign up for this webinar. Why did you decide to attend? I bet it was for one of a few reasons. Maybe you want to live a life that matters and reach your potential. But there's just too much to do, too little time, the important things are falling through the cracks. Or you know you're capable of more, but it feels like time's running out. Or you don't just want to survive, you want to make meaningful progress towards something that matters. There was a reason why you were interested, registered, and were motivated to show up, and why you're still here. And isn't it interesting that things tend to show up when you need them? There's something big in your future, something big in 2017. But you're at a crossroads and you need to figure out what to do. The way I see it is you have 3 choices. You can quit altogether because goal setting's useless and you've tried it before. You can continue doing it alone, hoping to get better results. But remember that Einstein said the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, hoping to get different results. Or you can let me help you get better results by getting regular accountability coaching. Do you really have the time to figure it out on your own? I understand how hard it can be. Mandy told you at the beginning, I have 2 kids, I have 2 businesses, I have volunteer work that seems to be never ending, but it can be done. I want you to know it's not your fault that you've tried and it hasn't worked out before. Traditional goal setting can be broken. It's not about just setting goals. It's about focusing on what's important. And I can help you figure out what's important and break it down into those chunks and keep you accountable along the way. I have a program called Jumpstart 2017, which is a 90-day coaching program. Now there's some science behind the 90-day time frame, but we won't go into that right now. Here's what's included in the program. There's pre-coaching discovery where you'll complete a survey before we get together so that we're on the same song sheet. There's a 90-minute session called a clarity session where we'll get clear on your goals and create your roadmap for the year ahead. And then there's 3 coaching sessions at the end of each month to keep you focused and on track. Throughout the 90 days, you'll have email access to me, so you can email me when you get stuck or need a kick in the pants or just need some extra motivation. And then there's a SMART Goals worksheet so that you're writing your goals the smart way. And on there, it lists the value of everything. And as you can see, the total for that is normally $1,600. But for Avanti Women, I created a special rate of $397. This program is delivered either over the phone or by Skype. And if you happen to be local to Ottawa, which is where I'm located, I'd be happy to meet up with you in person. All you have to do is send me an email at michelle@michellehamelin.ca. That's on your screen. And actually, because we went through all this pretty quickly, I'll have Mandy send out the SMART Goals worksheet to everyone who's on the webinar. And that's kind of it. Mandy, do we have any questions?
Let me take a look here. I don't see any questions. If anybody does have any question at this time, let us know, and we'd be happy to take that up. Okay, while that comes in, I'll just sort of finish off the session. So thank you so much, Michelle, for the excellent strategies you shared on how to set yourself up for success when it comes to achieving your goals. I think for me, one of the biggest takeaways was just focusing on the next step. Sometimes goals, we have these big dreams and goals, and they can be quite large, and it almost seems like they're out of reach. But when you sort of break it down, that really helps. And the part about having accountability and almost a goal partner to sort of keep you in check is very helpful. So it was great. If anybody at the session has any questions, you can contact me or Michelle. My email address is mandy@avantiwomen.com. Our next webinar will be in February, and it's going to be around love languages and effective communication. You can register online for that in the next few weeks. And as I had mentioned earlier on the call, our next large networking and career event is going to be at Centennial College on April the 1st. And there's going to be a variety of workshops. There's going to be lean-ins, mock interviews, fast mentoring sessions to really help you set up for career success. There will be employers, vendors, and over 200 women that you can network with. And registration for that opens up at the end of the month, and we have a special discount code for everyone that's on this webinar tonight. Each of you will receive $19 off our premium or VIP pass, and that's it's a further discount than the early bird that we'll be sending out. So look out for an email from me and see if it's something that you're interested in, and if the workshops sort of align with your career goals and if they would be beneficial. If you are interested in volunteering with Avanti Women and empowering women by hosting events within your region, then you can email me your resume, and that would again be at mandy@avantiwomen.com. Thank you, and have a great night.
All right. Thank you.
And just, before we end off here, I think there was just some feedback from Kim, who's on the call, and she said, thanks a lot. She had a big aha moment, and she found out that she was setting the tasks, but had lost sight of the actual goal, and thus the why. So that was really important. I think when you attach a why to a goal, it just makes you even more accountable. So thank you for sharing that feedback. It seems like everybody really benefited. So thank you so much, Michelle, for your time.
Great. Thank you for everyone who's taken the time to join in and make themselves a priority this year. And like I said, if you're interested in working with me, just send me an email and look in your inbox for the SMART Goals worksheet that my gracious host, Mandy at Avanti Women, will be sending out. And lastly, thank you to my friends at Avanti Women for inviting me to do this goal-setting webinar tonight. It was a privilege and a pleasure to be here.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Good night.